And welcome back to the final regular season week of the Livingston Parish Football Show. We are here with Mr. Rob DeArmond, sports editor for the News. Good morning, sir. How are you?
How you doing? Man?
Well, trying to stay well.
Yeah, I think we're all in that boat.
Yeah, it's things are starting to move in not a great direction. It was expected because of the cold weather. Not all of it's COVID. Some folks just getting sick from the weather change and that kind of thing. So it been a tough couple of weeks, especially here in Louisiana. Unfortunately, one team had a little bit of a COVID issue, but another issue as well. We're going to talk about that in a second. But COVID struck Albany High School pretty hard. Not only is their season over, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but their basketball team is under quarantine as well.
That's why I found that out this morning. So it's just kind of carrying over.
Right. So we're going to cover last week's scores real quick. Denham 26, Walker 21. Going to have a fun time talking about that one. Live Oak 34, Pineville 20. Albany 20, Brobridge 44. That was one of those games they had to pick up sort of on the fly because of COVID. Again, want to remind folks, Albany's football season is done. No playoffs, no nothing. They are shut down for the year. Springfield did not play due to COVID. Their season is done not because of COVID, but because of a clerical error on a ineligible player. We're not going to go into that.
That's the best way to describe it. I just asked them to keep it simple, and that's the best way to do it. It's one of those things where they had to wind up forfeiting games. They were sitting in a pretty good spot, hoping to go back to practice on Wednesday, to kind of thinking they were going to play a playoff game. And this happened. So with that, they had to forfeit the wins that they did have. So they're going to finish the season 0-5.
And there you have it, folks. So Springfield and Albany are done. Their seasons are done. However, the 5A schools in the area are going to continue their play. Unfortunately, a lot of things going on in that District 5A slate. So pretty much all of them except Live Oak are picking up outside games. So we're going to start with Denham. Going to talk first about their sort of side to the Walker game last Friday, their first win of the season, a big win over an intra-parish rival. And as you said, walking in there on Monday morning, a little more pep in the step around the field house.
That was my first question to Coach Beard. I said a little bit different atmosphere on a Monday here coming in after a win. And he said, absolutely, because it's something that and we talked about it last week. The kids can see it. You could see those little things kind of happening, but it wasn't translating to a win. And they were able to go out and get one against Walker. A really good game. Denham goes up 19-0 on Walker. Ray McNeely, the sophomore, comes in. He had 260 yards rushing. Cam Kelly was out with a concussion, so they kind of once Ray got going, he kind of had easily his best game of the year. And these guys are young too, they're sophomores. So like Brett said, you've got looking forward to watching them carry the ball another 2 years here. So.
Right. So, and that was one of the interesting things about this year was that with COVID and injuries and a couple other things, the Jackets kind of had to dig deep into that, personnel package. A lot of young kids getting experience. And while it's tough for that particular year, lots to look forward to.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's one thing that I tried to make a point of it earlier. And I think that's something that maybe is getting lost in the shuffle is how many young kids they actually are playing here. I can't remember. I know I told you guys the numbers a couple weeks ago in terms of sophomores. And I think definitely one freshman starting at one point. But this is that's something that they actually want to build on and, definitely want to build on there.
And we'll have the opportunity to do that with one more game. Ouachita Christian, number 3 in 1A, according to the Louisiana Sports Writers Association. Their weekly poll, which you publish on Tuesday morning, I believe.
That's correct.
And so you can go back and look at that poll if you want to. They need a win here. And some more weird stuff to happen for them to get in the playoffs, but it's still not out of the picture.
Right. And that was something that when I went to talk to Coach Beard about, it's hey, we've still got this on the table. it may sound strange, but stranger things have happened, especially in this year. You don't get comfortable in what's going on. But he said in looking at Ouachita Christian, he kind of had a smile on his face, a little gleam in his eyes, like. He's like, man, this is throwback football. It's old school. You got kids going both ways. Said they got a linebacker. He said he wears a neck roll just like me. So because of that, he immediately became my favorite player. And we're watching him. We're trying to see what he's doing. But he's just, Brett's just anxious to kind of see how his guys are going to fare against this type of competition. They're coming to them. And it's just, he said, I'm just really excited. I like watching the film, like what they're doing. And just for his team, it's another opportunity.
Right. And, they, like we said, those younger kids going to get some play time against a good team, a team that obviously number 3 heading to the playoffs, with sounds like some dogs on that team.
That's what he said. You look at him and I think he said that linebacker's wearing 62 because he's got to go play offensive line on the other side.
Right.
It's just one of those things that he said. It's like just the gritty football that you're used to. Guys going both ways, doing everything. Special teams and everything. He said it's fun to watch. He's saying it with a smile on his face the whole time. Like it's really. I don't want to say like a kid in a candy store, but he's like, this is going to be fun, and we're looking forward to it.
Right. So, are they coming here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they'll be right over there, through the woods, and they will play this Friday, 7 p.m. And as Coach Beard said, they're looking for that last bit of experience, but it feels good to see a lot of this work pay off.
Right. And Ouachita Christian, just so you guys know, they're the power rankings that I'm using from Go Preps. They're number 5 in the Division 4 power rankings right now. So that's where Brett is saying if they get that win, it could boost their playoff stock. So
sure. So one of the interesting things is we had that intra-parish game just last Friday against Denham and Walker. Denham had a 19-0 lead. Walker actually went on a 21-7 run, but couldn't quite close that gap. One of the things that Coach Mahaffey said to you was you got to cash in on those opportunities. Denham was able to kind of shut the door on them a couple of times, which eventually led to the loss. So tell us a little bit about what Walker is looking for in preparation for Pineville this week.
For them, they just want to finish strong. Like Coach Mahaffey said, the odds are that the playoffs are kind of out of reach for them. So it's just trying to go out and have a little pride in what you're doing and kind of build something for next year. This season obviously didn't turn out the way they wanted to. Going back to the game on Friday with Denham, it's the same things. And that's, you kind of look at Coach Mahaffey and literally, I said, I hate to beat a dead horse, but this is the things that you talk about every week are the things that we're seeing tonight that didn't happen. I think it was 3 times that they get to the red zone. They miss a field goal one time. They miss Brian Thomas on a 4th down pass in the corner of the end zone where he's out of bounds. Had a chance at one point to kind of change some momentum. I think they had cut it to 5. I'm looking through my game story now just to kind of make sure, but they cut it to 5. And they get to a point where they stop Denham on a 4th down. And then on the very next play, they tried a little reverse pass and Brian winds up throwing an interception, which kind of stopped that momentum right there. So, right. And Coach Mahaffey said it's one of those things where it's a boom or bust type play, but the biggest thing was that they didn't convert, and it was a turnover, so you had to put your defense out on the field immediately right after that. So,
and that's always tough. No rest.
Absolutely.
Especially that was late in the game, right?
Yeah, that was early 4th quarter, if I remember.
Yeah, so at that point, your defense is looking for a little rest. You don't get it. It's always tough to go back out there and make another stop.
Back out. And if I remember right, that was that next drive. Then went ahead and scored. McNeely had a touchdown on the ensuing drive to put them ahead 26-14.
Right, because it's not just about the defense too. That offense just having been shut down. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, we got another chance. So that's a tough situation to put yourself in.
It is strict momentum,
Yeah.
and you try to take advantage of it. Try to at that point, I don't think there was a turnover. There were turnovers. I think it was a fumble by Denham that Walker recovers, and then the very next play they turned it over. But I think up to that point there were no turnovers in that game, if I remember correctly.
Right. So, played pretty good football up until things start to, I guess you can say, kind of come off the track, if you will.
Right.
So they're going to look to cash in on those opportunities this week against Pineville. Now, one of the things we talked about before the show, Live Oak just played Pineville, ended up beating them 34-20. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But, one of the things that Coach Mahaffey sees, or I guess you could say two of the things he sees from Pineville, is a spread offense on that side of the ball and a physical defense on the other side of the ball. And, as he told you, we have problems with both of those.
Yes, it's one of those deals where he's talked about it, I think, 3 weeks in a row. Tackling. He said the games that we tackle well, we do well. And the games that we don't tackle well, we don't do so well. So that's one of those. And like I said, he's kind of harping on the same things over and over every week, just trying to make sure that the kids kind of get it where it needs to be, and they're still working on that. So,
well, they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them. They had that game go down to the wire against Live Oak. Live Oak just beat Pineville, so they're going to have to figure some things out this week. Is Pineville? They're going to Pineville.
They're going to Pineville. Yeah, making the road trip.
That's about 2.5, 3 hour road trip.
Yeah. Hadn't been up there in a while, but yeah, that's a nice little jaunt.
Little piece of history here. And if Stuart Lewis is listening to this show, he'll know exactly the story I'm about to tell.
Story time with McHugh.
Oh man, let me tell you. I believe it was 2010. I actually went to watch Walker play Pineville in Pineville, believe it or not, roughly 10 years ago now. Wow. It's interesting to tell the story. It was either 2010 or 2011. And the game came down to 0-0 at the end of regulation, 0-0 through 3 overtimes. And Pineville, I don't want to take anything away from either team because it was a monsoon the whole game. It was one of those late fall rains, and it just rained and rained and rained, starting probably around the second quarter, and it never stopped. And they just couldn't do anything. Kids were slipping, balls were flying through the rain. I'm pretty sure I could see it because I was looking down on it, but if you were on the field, all you saw was wetness, and then a ball flew out of nowhere. So it was a very interesting game to watch. Anyway, Pineville ended up winning that game in triple overtime, 3-0. So it was.
That's when you won't forget for sure.
Again, thinking about Walker and Pineville, that's the first thing that came to mind.
That's what goes to your mind.
It was it's a very interesting story. And see, that was part of the problem too, is we had a rain delay, then they played in the rain, then we had triple overtime. So I'm sitting in the passenger seat while Stuart drives, and I'm typing it out on my phone, story to send him Mike Doty. It was interesting. So the Wildcats will be on the road at Pineville, which, if you don't know where Pineville is, it is a suburb of Alexandria. Live Oak is the sole team that will be finishing their district slate this week against Central. And outside of, I believe, Scotlandville, Live Oak has played the full district slate. Have they not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was that they picked up that Pineville game because Scotlandville had to drop out. So that's I guess that's the closest you're going to get for a parish team this year to play in district.
Right. So Live Oak kind of leading the way on that one. They but we have talked about Central several times. Kind of a common foe here. First, let's talk about the game against Pineville. It was tied 20-20. They end up winning 34-20. So they, kind of settled in and did what they had to do. What did Coach Westmoreland have to say about that?
It's one of those things where you get it to 2020 and he said you kind of look at it, and he said the kids kind of looked at me and said, "Coach, we got this. We got it." So he said you just kind of let him go, and then he summed it up. We scored 2 touchdowns, and we had the ball, with about 2 minutes left, which is where you want to be,
Right.
So that was the cut and dry Blaine Westmoreland version of the game. So,
well, and it's that's football. Sometimes you just kind of say, we can do this. So this week, going to have to do it because you've got a good team in Central. As described, they are scrappy. You kind of know what you're getting, and you've watched them before. So tell us a little bit about what they're going to be facing this week.
Well, it's when I talked to Blaine about that, he's just kind of like Coach Edwards over there. Sid Edwards has got him kind of hey, it's us against them and our backs against the wall, and they've just got that mentality is like, hey man, we're going to go out and beat you. Just a scrappy, gritty team. Like to run the ball, and in doing so, they have the quarterback at Jonathan Swift, who's he's a dual threat kind of guy. So you either kind of, if he pulls it down, he's going to go, or he can throw the ball. And I've seen him, saw him against Denham earlier this year, and he's one of the guys you got to key on, but he's not the only guy.
Right. And, Live Oak has had its fair share of tests with regard to speed. Everything from they didn't get to play Scotlandville, but they have gotten to play a lot of other teams with a lot of speed. So they're no stranger to it. So they're going to be looking to make those stops on the ground. Play, I'm guessing, their usual game of keep away.
Yes. I'm looking at numbers from last week. 55 carries for 282 yards rushing as a team. Grind it out, throw it when you need to, and when they've had to throw in the games I've seen, they've been effective in doing it. And it goes back to that old coaching adage, enough to keep them honest. Sure. You hate to pull that out, but that's exactly what it is.
Don't let them stack the box. Make sure they know you can go up with it.
Exactly, we can do it too. So,
well, again, let's cover what's going on this upcoming week. That would be tomorrow. For those of you who are watching on Thursday, it'll be tonight if you're watching on Friday. Denham faces Ouachita Christian at home. It's a pickup game because several teams are out due to COVID, including Zachary and Scotlandville. So Ouachita Christian, number 3 in 1A, according to the Louisiana Sports Writers Association. As long as they win this game, some weird things could happen that could vault them into the playoffs. Walker also needs some weird stuff to happen, but they're not real confident in that weird stuff. So looking to end on a positive note, traveling to Pineville. Hopefully not a 3-0 game in 3 overtimes. And finally, Live Oak is at Central, trying to wrap up that district slate, looking to finish strong as well. We didn't speak about it, but they've had a pretty good record this year outside of the tough bout against Zachary. So guessing they have a playoff chance.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. And I haven't read that story yet. Let me go. I'm going to look on the right now and tell you where they're sitting in the power ratings. This is why I put the computer in front of me, folks. So let's check it out.
Let's take a look.
Let's all learn together.
This is real-time learning.
This is real time, folks. I'm being honest with you.
While we're waiting and while he's putting that up, going to cover last week's scores real quick. Denham 26, Walker 21, Live Oak 34, Pineville 20, Albany 20, Brobridge 44. Springfield did not play. Again, Albany's season has come to a close due to COVID. Springfield were trying to get back into practice starting yesterday. However, due to an ineligible player because of a clerical error, their season is over.
Looking at this, I'm on the Go Prep site. Live Oak is sitting at number 20 in the power ratings right now.
So a win here could potentially give them a home playoff game as long as it's convincing.
And and I'm looking at this. Central is number 10. So
yeah,
if you see that kind of that could, so you got to get to you're looking at 32 teams, so you got to get in the top 16 to try to have that home playoff game. So with those two teams being that close together, I would guess it would be a possibility. If Live Oak could get a win here.
Pull it into 16, maybe Central drops to 17, and then you get a rematch.
It wouldn't be the first time it's happened in 4 or 5A, folks.
Right, and I do believe that's actually happened to Live Oak and Central before.
Yes.
So an interesting situation in that. So keep an eye on that game. That's going to be a big game this Friday night, Live Oak at Central. One last time, I want to thank Mr. Rob DeArmond, our sports editor, for stopping by today and giving us the rundown of what's going on with football. This is, of course, the final regular season week. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
And we're going to see what happens with those playoff schedules. We might have Coach Blaine in here Get him to come talk to us.
See what we can do. Those the pairings are, as far as I know, I think they come out Sunday. So keep watching. We'll keep you posted.
We will keep you up to date. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us for the last regular season week of the Livingston Parish Football Show. It's been a weird year thanks to COVID, but we have stayed consistent with the show and got it out there just as soon as we can. We want to remind folks that we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We do wish all the luck to these 3 teams that are going to be playing this week. We are sorry for those teams that didn't make it, and we will see you guys next week, probably for some playoff action. I would imagine even if Live Oak loses, still going to have to go play a playoff game. So we will catch you guys next week. Thanks for joining us.